What people truly struggle with is not earning, it's becoming. Becoming the kind of person who can handle success, keep it, grow it, and pass it on with wisdom. That's the truth about getting rich. And it's rarely discussed because it requires personal responsibility, and responsibility makes most people uncomfortable. You see, the world will gladly reward you for value, but it will never reward you for intention. Intention is invisible. Desire is cheap. Hope is common. But consistency, disciplined, forceful, daily consistency, that's rare, and rarity is always valuable. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they don't do what they know long enough for it to matter. They read the book, attend the seminar, feel inspired for a weekend, and then return to old habits on Monday morning. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Here's a hard truth most people avoid. Success is not complex, but it is demanding. It doesn't ask you to be extraordinary once. It asks you to be ordinary consistently. It doesn't require brilliance. It requires rhythm. And rhythm is built through habits, quiet, unseen, often boring habits that don't impress anyone at dinner parties, but eventually change your bank account, your confidence, and your life. Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. People don't drift into wealth. They drift into poverty. Drifting is natural. Discipline is unnatural until you practice it long enough for it to become part of who you are. Poverty is the default setting of neglect. Wealth is the reward for structured effort over time. That's why getting rich looks mysterious to those who refuse routine and obvious to those who live by principles. Most people wait for motivation. That's backward. Motivation follows action. It doesn't precede it. You don't wake up inspired and then act. You act, and inspiration shows up to support you. The wealthy didn't feel like saving when they started. They didn't feel confident when they made their first investment. They didn't feel ready when they began learning. They acted first, and feelings adjusted later. That's maturity. That's mastery. The real divide in life is not between the rich and the poor. It's between the disciplined and the undisciplined. And discipline is simply deciding in advance what you will do, regardless of mood, weather, opinion, or temporary discomfort. If you want to know why some people get rich and others don't study their income, study their habits. Watch what they do when no one is watching. Watch how they treat small decisions. Watch how they spend their evenings, their mornings, and their idle time. Here's what most people misunderstand about consistency. They think it means intensity. It doesn't. Consistency means sustainability. It's not doing 1,000 push-ups once. It's doing 10 every day for years. It's not saving a fortune in one moment. It's saving a small portion every time money touches your hands. It's not reading 50 books in a month. It's reading 10 pages a day for a decade. That's how fortunes are built. Quietly, patiently, predictably. And here's where psychology comes in. The human mind loves comfort, familiarity, and immediate reward. It resists effort whose payoff is delayed. That's why people choose entertainment over education, spending over saving, and excuses over accountability. The mind will always argue for the short term unless trained otherwise. That's why habits matter. Habits bypass debate. When something becomes a habit, you no longer negotiate with yourself, you just do it. And when wealth-building behaviors become habits, wealth becomes a byproduct. Let me give you another truth. Money amplifies who you already are. If you're careless, money makes you reckless. If you're disciplined, money makes you powerful. If you lack character, money exposes it. That's why chasing money without mastering habits is dangerous. The goal is not to get rich fast. The goal is to become someone who deserves to be rich and can remain that way. People often ask, what's the secret? And I smile. because secrets are usually excuses dressed as mystery. The truth is visible. It's just ignored. Show up every day. Do the simple things well. Keep promises to yourself. Learn continuously. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Associate with people who think bigger than you. Repeat. That's not glamorous, but it works. And it works every time.
Success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. Now, that may sound poetic, but it's also profoundly practical. You see, life doesn't respond to need. It responds to seed. And the seeds of success aren't in your circumstances. They're in your habits. We're all architects of our own fortune, but most never draw the blueprint. Why? Because it's easier to complain about the wind than to adjust the sails. But let me tell you something I learned early. If you want to have more, you must become more. Success is something you grow into, not something you stumble across. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you deserve, based on the habits you repeat when no one is watching. So tonight, let's talk about 7 habits, not theories, not cliches, but timeless disciplines, practiced quietly, daily, that have the power to pull success toward you like gravity. Stay with me. Because once you understand these, and more importantly, live these, life starts working for you, not against you. Let's begin. Discipline is the silent architect of every success story. It's not loud, it doesn't brag, but it's always there shaping futures when no one's watching. Now, desire is a powerful thing. It's the starting point. It gives you vision, fire, and dreams. But desire alone is like having a map with no legs to walk. Discipline, that's the bridge. That's the steady step across the canyon that separates where you are from where you want to be. When I was just a farm boy, I had dreams bigger than the cornfields. But I also had excuses. I didn't have the right education, I told myself. Didn't come from the right family, until one day a mentor said to me, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. That hit me right in the gut. From that day on, I stopped negotiating with my excuses and started showing up for my future. It began with little things, waking up earlier, reading 10 pages a day, tracking every penny I spent. No fireworks, no applause. But day by day, I was building something money couldn't buy: character. You see, the road to wealth isn't paved with gold. It's paved with repeated, seemingly insignificant actions. The decision to save $10, 0 cents, instead of spending it on fast pleasure. The will to learn for an hour instead of watching 3. The strength to say no to unnecessary debt when the world says yes. I once met a young man who said, I'm waiting to feel motivated to start. I said, my friend, motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Don't wait for the fire. Be the one who strikes the match. The successful don't rely on moods. They rely on methods. They don't hope their way into fortune. They work their way there with deliberate intention. Think of it like this. Desire is the seed, but discipline is the watering can. You don't just plant it and walk away. You show up daily, rain or shine. And over time, that tiny seed becomes a tree that bears fruit for a lifetime. You want financial reality to match your dreams? Then make discipline your closest companion, because everything you want is on the other side of consistent effort. One of life's grandest illusions is this, that more money will solve a spending problem. But the truth is, if you can't manage $100, you won't manage 10,000. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and what you do with it once you've kept it. I learned early on that wealth isn't built in sudden leaps. It's built in quiet decisions. I didn't start with much, but what I did have, I learned to respect. If I earned $1, I'd live on 70 cents. 10 cents I would give, because generosity trains the heart to conquer greed. 10 cents I would save, for the future always rewards the prepared. and the last 10 cents I would invest, for that's the piece that turns effort into multiplication. Now I've met people with big incomes and empty accounts. They chase status, new cars, bigger homes, luxury they haven't earned. That's not wealth, that's a mask, and masks eventually fall. Real wealth is silent. It grows in the background. It doesn't demand attention. It's built by people who master one principle: spend less than you earn and invest the difference. I remember walking past a clothing store once, and I saw a suit I wanted. I had the money, but I asked myself, do I want to wear my money or grow it? I chose to grow it, and over time, those small decisions stacked. That same money began working for me, earning more while I slept than I used to earn when I worked. You see, simplicity is powerful. The world will tempt you with shine and flash, but shine doesn't last, substance does. And substance is built on restraint, vision, and a plan. If you can live with less now, you can live with abundance later. And the person who learns to control their appetite becomes the one who owns the feast. Build the habit today. Live beneath your means. Invest the rest. Do it long enough, and you'll wake up one day not just with money, but with freedom. And that, my friend, is the true measure of wealth. Let me tell you something that changed my financial life. Not when I made my first big check, not when I bought my first property, but when I learned how to stop losing money without even noticing it. You see, wealth isn't only built by what you earn, it's built by what you keep. And far too many people have a bucket full of holes, wondering why it never fills up. Every 90 days, I sat down and looked at my finances like a farmer inspects his land. No emotion, just truth. I called it a financial audit. It wasn't fancy, just paper, pencil, and honesty. I'd look at where my money had gone, subscriptions I wasn't using, fees I didn't notice, interest I was paying unnecessarily, and I started plugging those leaks. I once found I was paying for a magazine I hadn't read in 6 months. That $5 a month may not seem like much, but 5 here, 10 there, a bit of interest here, a bit of indulgence there, it all adds up. A ship doesn't sink because of one big hole. It sinks because of many small ones left unattended. So, every quarter I'd ask myself, is this expense contributing to my growth or just satisfying a short-term craving? Am I investing in my future or just maintaining habits from my past? When you ask those kinds of questions, you start to see money not just as currency, but as a reflection of your values. If your values have grown, your spending should reflect that maturity. Now, this practice requires humility. You'll have to admit you've made poor decisions, but that's part of the journey. Awareness always precedes change. A disciplined audit leads to wiser allocation. It sharpens your mind and stretches your dollars. And I'll tell you what happens when you start plugging those leaks. You give your money a purpose. You redirect wasted resources towards something that matters. Building assets, paying off debt, investing in your education, creating options. Remember, your money is a servant. It will go where you send it. Audit with discipline, adjust with courage. Because a leaky bucket never fills, no matter how much you pour in. Let me share something simple but powerful. Success doesn't come from complexity, it comes from clarity. And when it comes to your finances, clarity means choosing one meaningful target and giving it your full attention for 90 days. Not 10 goals, not everything at once, just one. That's how momentum is built. Years ago, I needed to come up with $3,000, 0 cents in a short time, not for a luxury, but to pay off a debt that had become a mental weight. I didn't look at it as a mountain. I looked at it as a staircase. I divided it, $1,000, 0 cents a month, around $250, 0 cents a week. Then I asked, what can I do this week to generate that? I picked up an extra seminar, sold some old items, and trimmed unnecessary expenses. And slowly but surely, the gap closed, not because I worked magic, because I stayed focused. Most people don't fail from lack of effort. They fail from lack of focus. They aim at too many targets and hit none. But when you create a 90-day goal, something shifts. The mind becomes sharper. The distractions fade. You begin to make decisions not based on emotion, but alignment. That meal out, not in the plan. That new gadget, it can wait. Because when the goal is clear, discipline becomes easier. Use a whiteboard, a notebook, or even a piece of paper taped to your wall. Break the goal down. Track it weekly. Reward yourself for progress, not perfection. You don't need to move the mountain today. You just need to carry a few stones. Day by day, brick by brick, that's how wealth is built. And remember this, you're not just hitting a number, you're building identity. When you prove to yourself that you can set a goal and follow through, you become someone who trusts your own word. And that, my friend, is more valuable than the money itself. So decide, commit, track, and finish. Because 90 days of focused effort can create a lifetime of change. When I was younger, I had every excuse in the book. My parents weren't wealthy. I didn't go to the right school. The job market wasn't ideal. Sound familiar? I thought I had reasons. But what I really had were limitations disguised as logic. And the moment I started believing those excuses, I gave away my power. You see, excuses are seductive. They make you feel safe, justified, even clever. But they are also the language of financial failure. You either build a life based on strategy or you build it around a story. And most people have chosen the story. They blame the economy, their upbringing, their boss, their luck. But here's what I learned. As long as I blamed, I remained. I stayed exactly where I was. The turning point came when I realized no one was coming to rescue me. Not the government, not the market, not even a lucky break. My progress would only begin when I took full ownership, no excuses, no blame, just responsibility. I remember meeting a man who grew up with nothing, 10 kids in a 2-bedroom house. Today, he owns real estate across 3 states. I asked him how he did it. He said, I just decided not to keep telling the story of why I couldn't. That hit me hard. And it stayed with me. Because he had the same world I did, but a different mindset. Every time you speak an excuse, you give it roots. You reinforce your limitations. And worse, you shrink your vision of the future. Because when the story gets bigger, your strategy gets smaller. So I started catching myself. Every time I said I can't because, I would stop and replace it with, what can I do right now? Solutions don't live in complaint. They live in creativity, in action, in ownership. The people who rise, the people who build wealth are the ones who've learned this. Excuses are the enemies of progress. They sound smart. They feel good, but they cost too much. So trade your excuses for a plan. Speak in possibility, act in responsibility, and watch your life change. Not by chance, but by choice. One of the greatest secrets to mastering success is not just in learning, but in teaching what you've learned. Now, I'm not talking about standing behind a podium or writing books necessarily. I mean something much more personal. I mean teaching your children how to save a portion of every dollar. I mean showing a friend how to build a budget. I mean taking what's working in your life and sharing it, not to impress, but to reinforce. See, when you speak a principle out loud, it sharpens in your mind. When you try to explain how compound interest works, or why discipline beats motivation, or how to build wealth slowly and steadily, you begin to own that knowledge. It moves from your head to your heart, and once it's in your heart, it guides your behavior. I used to teach the basics of personal finance at small gatherings, not because I was a master, but because I wanted to be. Every time I explained the October 10th 70-10 rule, live on 70%, save 10%, invest 10%, give 10%. It got deeper into my bones. The more I taught it, the more natural it became in my own life. Clarity creates confidence. You ever notice that those who live their values out loud seem to walk taller? That's no accident. There's a power that comes from congruence. When what you believe, what you say, and what you do are all in alignment, your confidence goes up, not from arrogance, but from integrity. You become the kind of person others trust, and more importantly, the kind of person you trust. So teach, share, speak about what's working. Don't worry if you don't know everything. Nobody does. But the very act of teaching will help you grow. It will deepen your understanding. It will expose gaps you didn't see, and it will stretch your mind in ways that books alone never could. And here's the real magic. When you teach success, you invite it. When you teach abundance, you attract it. And when you teach discipline, you embody it. So don't just keep what you've learned. Pass it on. Because clarity isn't just the beginning of confidence. It's the fuel of lasting success. I've seen it time and again. Someone hears a powerful idea, gets excited, runs out of the seminar, ready to change their life, and within a week, they're back to old habits. Why? Because they mistook inspiration for transformation. And those are two very different things. See, motivation's like a spark. It's exciting, it's emotional, it lights you up. But if you don't turn that spark into a structure, the flame goes out. Real change doesn't come from moments of hype. It comes from rituals. Those quiet, steady, often boring routines that over time build something extraordinary. When I began my journey, I didn't try to overhaul my life overnight. I picked a few things and I made them non-negotiable. Reading 15 minutes a day, saving 10 cents from every dollar, writing down goals weekly. Nothing dramatic, just consistent. It felt small at the time, but it was like planting seeds every single day. Most people want the harvest, but they don't want the planting. They want results, but not repetition. But here's the truth. What you do daily is more powerful than what you do occasionally. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, it's about what you decide. And when you build your life on decisions instead of emotions, everything changes. I remember a man who built a fortune flipping properties. I asked him his secret. He said, I walk through a new neighborhood every Saturday morning. Rain or shine, it's just what I do. That habit gave him deals no one else saw because he showed up with consistency, not just when it was convenient. And that's the message. Wealth doesn't reward the excited, it rewards the consistent. Your money habits, your health routines, but that's what makes them powerful. Because it's the simple things done repeatedly that separate the average from the exceptional. Discipline, for instance, may seem like a small matter when you're choosing whether or not to spend $5 extra or skip a day of reading, but those little decisions are votes for the kind of future you want. You don't build a legacy in a day. You build it with daily bricks. And each habit is a brick. Success, my friends, is not a mystery. It's a recipe. And it's not a race. It's a rhythm. If you want to change your income, change your habits. If you want to change your future, change your philosophy. If you want more from life, become more. Because as I've said many times before, you can't pursue success. You must deserve it. And the habits we've discussed are how you become deserving. Audit your life. Look honestly at how you spend your time, your energy, and your money. Not with guilt or shame, but with clarity. Are your actions aligned with your goals? Or are you hoping success will come despite your habits rather than because of them? This is not about perfection, it's about direction. And if you'll point your life in the right direction and keep walking, even slowly, you'll be amazed how far you go. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Progress begins with one good decision, then another, then another. Here's the truth most never hear. Wealth is not the hard part. Keeping it is. And keeping it requires character. It requires wisdom. It requires you to mature into the kind of person who can handle success without it handling you. And that's what these habits do. They shape you into that. There are two kinds of pain in life, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One weighs ounces, the other weighs tons. Choose wisely. Because years from now, you'll either say, I'm glad I did, or I wish I had. And every habit you build today is casting a vote toward one of those two outcomes. So my call to action is simple, but not easy. Audit your habits. Track your money. Read daily. Save consistently. Give generously. Think deeply. And most of all, stay consistent. Because wealth doesn't just come to the smart. It comes to the steady. Don't rely on bursts of motivation. Build rituals that endure. Set your standards higher. Challenge your own excuses. Surround yourself with people who stretch you, not shrink you. And never forget, success is something you build, not something you find. You have the tools. You have the potential. And after today, you have the map. Now it's time to take the walk. Not someday, today. Because the future is not something we enter. It's something we create. And the best way to predict the future is to build it. One habit at a time. Let's get to work.